Hello everyone, welcome back to another Q&A video here. Today, or this week, we got 9 questions. A few of them are related to each other, so there won't be quite 9 answers, but I guess a real quick update first. It's an absolute disaster in here. We are working on getting rid of some stuff and moving stuff around so that we can actually build another wall in here, like I kind of discussed in a previous video, kind of making a almost like a library style where you'll walk down the row and on either side you can see the drawers. So that's kind of our expansion plan at the moment. So a lot of this stuff is moving out. This is usually back there, so it's in the middle here. The table's an absolute mess. But yeah, total disaster in here. But we'll get right into the questions here. The first one is from AKA Turbo 7. And then another one kind of relating to the same question from Seabad Cali. And they both asked, where are your BrickLink fees? And this is in relation to the video of me showing how we track our income and our expenses. And I don't know why I didn't mention this in the video, but we don't track it per sale. We put it in the expenses column. So at the end of the month, BrickLink sends you an invoice, or the beginning of the following month. And then if your invoice is $36.11 or say, then you pay them the $36.11. So what we're doing, instead of tracking each sale exactly, we are putting it in the expenses column just so we have an exact amount, because 3% of $24.13 it'll be more than a two-digit decimal. So to make sure we know the exact amount, we're just waiting and putting it in the expense column for the month that it goes or correlates with as an expense when we get the invoice from BrickLink. Hopefully that answered both of your guys' questions. But yeah, I don't know why I didn't mention it in that video, because it's actually quite an important question. The next question is from Michael Hayes, and this is in relation to the barcode video. He said, what software, or was the software free, or did you have to purchase it? And that is for the Barcode Studio software. It is a paid software, but we did use the demo mode for it, and it doesn't make the barcodes look perfect, but they do scan. So if this was something you wanted to put on a product or something, you wouldn't want to use this, because there is a little bar that goes across the barcode that says demo. But in our case, it does still work because it does still scan. We may purchase it in the future just to get rid of that demo and to support the program, because it is fantastic and it's super useful. But there's also, I know Minnesota Brick Slayer used the Avery .com, their template thing, which we didn't even really look into. So that's definitely an option as well. There's other ways to not have to purchase the software or use this software at all. Next question. This wasn't really a question, but it was kind of a mention from Bricked Out. He said, I love the look of the stack-on style drawers, but when I had 14 of them in my store, I found them very time-consuming to refill and to track. So I understand where he's coming from, and this is, again, it's not a question. I'm not really arguing with him. Everyone has their own way to do it. But he does something more in this style with specific bins, and they're not quite this big, and the ones he has, at least what I've seen in his videos, they're maybe a quarter or so of this size. And he stacks them on a wall, and he has little shelves similar to this in a way, but it looks a lot nicer than this. But the reason I don't think that would work for us is because it's not worth us putting, in a bin that holds double the amount this can hold. Why would we put this many pieces in there? Or double the amount that can hold, why would we put this in there? It just feels like a lot of wasted space. And while it is kind of hard to, I guess, keep these drawers full and track them, I guess, as you would say, it's very useful when they're in an order, and when they're in an order on your BrickLink in your remarks, so that you're pulling really from left over there and you're going to right over here as you're pulling the orders. So this works really great for us, and I think it does look nice as well. Obviously, we have a ton of holes in it right now, which is good, because that does mean we have drawers that are available, but it's also bad because that means there's inventory or stock that's not yet uploaded or on the wall. So as we probably get a little bit larger, we're going to have to do more of these drawers, I assume, or I imagine, more of these bins, because like those drawers, they're pretty full as it is. Bins, they're not drawers. They're pretty full. And as these drawers get more full, the next step up is technically up there. It's one of the pick-a-brick cups. And then from there, it is to a bin over here. So my assumption is we're slowly going to migrate away from the drawer, not totally away, but as we expand, we're going to use the drawers, but also probably have to switch to more of the larger drawers, and then eventually switch to more of the bins. But the drawers do work great for us. Next question, and this is from Minnesota Brick Slayer, and I have all the questions up there, but he said, are you charging tax? And this is also in relation to the expenses video that I talked about, or the tracking the income and expenses, initially, or not initially, but for a short period of time, we were charging tax. And then we stopped because we don't need to charge tax, actually, because we are already paying the sales tax on the items when we purchase them. So, yes, we were initially, we're not anymore. The reason it's still in the income and expenses sheet is because we did charge it at some point. So from now forward, or from a while ago forward, all the tax would be 0 in that column, and that'll never go up anymore unless things change. But no, we're not charging tax anymore. To answer that question, ZBrick Store asked, what does it read when you scan a Lego barcode, and could this be helpful at all? So he's talking about one of these barcodes. Here it is. Here. So there, where it says 673419320221, that barcode there. When you scan that barcode, that is the number that's going to show up. So it could be useful in terms of scanning that barcode and having a database that, as far as I know, isn't necessarily public domain, and then having your computer calculate and say, okay, this barcode here equals, and then it would have it transition to the item number there, or the set number there. So it could potentially be useful, but it would be a lot of work to start a system that has a whole inventory and index of this barcode equals this set, this barcode equals this set. Not impossible, but a lot more work and a lot harder, I think, than it would be useful for, because when you scan, it does just give you that longer number that, me just looking at that number doesn't mean anything. Next question is from, again, AKA Turbo, and he asked, for a Lego store, is it better to have a little bit of everything or a lot of the same bricks but less variety? And that's a hard question because it really depends with what you're doing. If you're specializing in minifigs and you have one of, 2,000 different minifigs, that's totally fine. But if you're specializing in pieces or bricks, I would say if you have one of 10,000 different pieces, not a ton of people are going to come to your store unless they're specialty pieces like printed pieces or older pieces that are retired at this point. It is now, I would say, better to have a large quantity as well as a large variety, so a mix. And I know this is going to be hard to answer your question, but if you only have 1 or 2 of each piece, people aren't going to come to your store and buy multiples because you don't have multiples. So if they need 3 of this certain piece and you only have 2, they're going to go to a different store. So it's a mix between quantity and variety, I guess. And it's really hard to say there's a minimum piece count you should have for each piece because each piece is different. There are certain pieces like minifigs that people aren't going to buy 50 of necessarily. But if it's a 1x2 plate, maybe they do need 50, or maybe they need 100, or maybe they need 150. I know that we had 150 of a 1x2 plate that was, I think it was Translite Blue, and someone in China needed it. And, the shipping was extremely expensive to China, but he ordered 150 of this piece. And the reason he went with our store is because we did have the quantity he wanted of that piece. So it just depends, but it's good to have a mix of both quantity and quantity, as opposed to just stick with one. And the last question here is we have 2 more questions, sorry. But Luke Marsiglio asked, how were you able to set up the barcode scanner to work with BrickLink? This one's super simple. If you go ahead and watch the barcode video, when you scan a barcode, all it translates to into a computer is a line of text. So whatever that barcode says is what will actually show up. Essentially, when you plug in a barcode scanner to a computer or sync it with a computer, it is essentially a keyboard. And now when you scan a barcode, that barcode scanner sends back a string of characters to the computer, and that types it out. So it's really easy to work with BrickLink, but I'll leave the description to my my barcode scanner in the description, I'll leave a link to it in the description below, and then you can go ahead and check out and watch that video, and hopefully that answers any questions you could have. Last question for this week comes from Jared Camacho, I think is how you say it. How long, or is there a time frame that you think it will take you to get to positive for business? And this is also in relation to the income and expenses, because obviously we haven't technically made a profit income or profit any of the months yet. Here's the thing. We can, at this point, stop expanding and make a profit. We no longer need to continue pushing out or investing so much money into the store, and we can start having income come in. The problem there will be the store starts growing a little bit slower, or significantly slower probably in this case, because we're not putting as much money in as we're making, or as we are at the moment. So really we're in the positive, if you want to put it that way, because the cost of us running this store is significantly less at the moment than than it is that we're making. So if we wanted to just stick at I think we're at 95,000 pieces at this exact moment. If we wanted to stick with those 95,000 pieces and only refill the 95,000 and maintain that level, then we can totally do it and make profit. But what we're really focusing on is expansion. So our focus is not to make a ton of money and pay ourselves back at the exact moment. It is to make a ton of money and continue pouring that money into the store to get as big as we possibly can, or as big as we want to, at least in the moment. So hopefully that answered that question. But again, if you are a small store, you may be losing money for quite a while and not be making your money back. If you're asking how long does it take for us to get the money back that we've put into the store, if we stopped at the moment, it'd probably take us 2 months to get the money back that we put in, based on our past sales and based on this month's sales so far and all that kind of stuff. So I guess those are two different questions. But yeah, we're just expanding and we're putting all our money back into it. That's all the questions I have for this week. If you guys have any questions for next week, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this isn't too boring of a video. I know I couldn't show too much. I didn't set up the camera like I did last week. Actually, if you guys want, let me know in the comments below whether or not you liked the question video last week where I was in front of the camera and then I just kind of talked in front of it, or this week where I kind of show my store and stuff. And I know this is a bad example because it's a disaster in here, but yeah, let us know or which one you like better. Yeah, thank you guys for watching so much. Thanks for those of you who have subscribed and supported the channel and have questions and appreciate what we're doing here, because we're really trying to make it hopefully easier and better for those who want to start a BrickLink store. Yeah, so thanks again, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video.